So, Sweatman, here we
Scabion?
are. Are you feeling a little bit insane today?
I am. Of course, I'm always insane. Just a little
Very
bit.
true. Alright. So, what do you say? The map insanity.
Let's review.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Alright. So, your first thoughts on this map. What do you think?
My first thoughts. Well, my first thought is that I had to do a lot of reading.
That,
I thought that number one was there was too much text and not enough action. I felt like I was playing a Final Fantasy game, almost. It was, read this book, 5 pages. Now walk up a flight of stairs. Now read the next book, 5 pages. It got a little too much. My vocal cords were strained at some points, especially doing the Rat Man or whatever his name was.
that
He
may
was
be true, but it did help flesh out a lot of character development, and that was
Yeah, but when
spectacular.
you have character development, it's an adventure map, dude. It doesn't need character development. Okay, fine. It's good to have character development, but only for like I don't know, say the fall of the Gondolin or something. That's good to have character development. But this was, you know, it wasn't that big.
Very true, but it was about a man spiraling into insanity.
Okay, good point. I mean, you needed the details just because it was more of a mental adventure map than a physical one.
Another thing that I would have to say that I liked about this map that was refreshing, especially after the whole bit with the cube, was we had resources. We had food, we had armor, we had weapons.
Yes, but again, it wasn't the middle ground. There are two extremes, people. There are the no, and then there's the too much. And for this map, it was too much. I mean, I felt like we were overpowered. It got to the point where once we opened up those chests. Cannot talk today. Chests with all the armor and the weapons. It ceased to be a challenge. It took away the excitement of it almost. I mean, I had a bow with like power 5 and punch 2 or something, and I was just
True.
one-shotting people in the face. It was exhilarating to be able to do that, but I mean, it took away the panic that most adventure maps have.
Alright, I see your point there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one another thing though that what was enjoy about and see now you've cursed me.
Well, that means it'll stop happening to me. Enjoy the curse. Continue.
One one other thing I do have to say though that I enjoyed about the map was how the storyline at certain parts became interactive. You know, especially where, you had that button on the wall and the story, you were portrayed as essentially the insane version of myself, kept on saying, push the button. And when you push the button, it drowned the testificates, it dropped testificates into water and they started drowning.
That was pretty funny. I liked that part actually.
And it just had several moments like that that were, I mean, it helped push forward that kind of really good storytelling, and really helped you immerse it in it a little bit better because you really felt like you were starting to spiral a little bit into insanity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'll agree with you there. Those interactive moments were fairly awesome actually. I liked how they physically brought you into. It was just cool. That's just like the only way to explain it. It was just cool.
Oh yeah.
One point that I had really that kind of goes along with what you were saying though is that while the plot line was very in depth and interactive and everything. It really put you in the place of the person really well. It was really well done. The main problem I had was that on a general scale, it didn't explain it well. Like, I understand like leaving some things up for the imagination, but leaving that much up the imagination, I was just confused. It, I thought that near the end they would explain it, like they would, most a good adventure map would be like build up the suspense, build up the confusion. Oh my god, what the fuck is going on, and stuff like that. But and then when you get to the end, it just brings it all into light. You're like, oh, I get it now. That's really cool. And this adventure map didn't really. It kind of did it. It tried to do it, but it did not succeed in doing that. It kind of bugged me. Like in the end, we turned back up back in our cells. I don't know how the fuck that happened. I don't know what that was supposed to symbolize. In the end, I didn't even exist. I was a figment of your imagination. Um, you know, the best. My best guess is that this was supposed to be some sort of, I don't know, embodiment of purgatory. I guess maybe you were paying for your sins, and I was some sort of angel being sent to guide you through. I don't know. I don't know. That was my best guess on what this adventure map was about. So, and I could be totally off on that. I just think they should have explained more.
Very true. Um, yeah, I suppose I can kind of see that. I mean, like, I still think that the map was designed as an overall to leave a little bit to the imagination. I think it was more of a depiction of what was inside the player's head. Just basically the representation of that insane mind. What that representation was the map itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so I can kind of understand the confusion. And I think that was supposed to be kind of like the note that map, left off on was, it was kind of supposed to feel jumbled, as if you were actually in the player's perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
it was how their mind was portraying things.
Mm-hmm. And on a general idea that they did a good job. It's just when you leave that much up to the imagination for a map that wasn't originally supposed to be something where you could create your own character, you shouldn't leave that much up for the imagination. You really shouldn't.
True.
Just
One other thing that I do think is worth mentioning is I think this map as an overall guided us well. There was really nothing that was too painful to try to figure out. The objectives were very clear throughout the entire map. It was, find this object. These are your choices. It will the objectives were as an overall extremely clear, and the actual format of the map wasn't confusing at all.
mm-hmm.
And that I do have to see as a very good positive, because unlike the cube where you would just wander off in this random direction for hours looking for something that you think might be there and presented to you in a certain way, this map wasn't like that. It was very clear where you had to go and what you had to do.
Yeah. One thing, and this is probably one of my biggest problems that I have with this map, it really killed the mood for me, especially at the very end. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to come out and say it. You can call me Jackass. Any of you can call me Jackass all you want. The people that made this map are serious brown nosers. I'm sorry. They just are. And all the mentionings, I don't mind putting references in Minecraft maps. I think that's a great idea. If it's that kind of Minecraft map, you can put in a reference all you want. But when all of your reference point to one specific group of people, you just seem like a suck up. I mean, the fact that all of the Yogscast crew is in jail, and I mean all of the Yogscast crew, anybody that was affiliated with the Yogscast crew is in jail. Um, and then Captain Sparkles, which was random. There was the chest that had Lewis that had a bunch of torches in it. And even, these two things I thought were kind of cool. I thought they were kind of funny. They were fine. We got to the very end. I saw there was a chest with um, made for Honeydew, and it had a bunch of TNT and redstone and all that in it with the flint steel. I thought that, and at that point, I'm like, okay, seriously, you got to stop. That's enough. You're good. And then in the credits, they put in that this map was an inspiration from the Yogscast when it had nothing to do with the Yogscast. That there was nothing in there that I could say that was a reference to what had to do with the Yogscast at all. And it just killed the mood. I had left that when we had finally gotten to paradise. I was on a high. I was like, wow, this was awesome. I really liked this adventure. This was really cool, really in depth. I saw the credits and I was like, really, really, you had to do that. That just boom, instant low. And I'm sorry, but they may be the biggest Minecrafters out there, but that does not mean that you can make constant references to them, hoping that they'll play your map and put it on YouTube. That's not how it works, people.
I can see your argument with that one, but I almost have to call that one a positive because I don't see it so much as brown nosing, but I see it more as a tribute to the people that inspire them to do something Minecraft based. I don't think.
Tribute 4 times. I think it 4 references it ceases to be a tribute and more of just a constant adoration.
I suppose. Alright.
And then even at the end, I like I said, I mean this I really liked I enjoyed this map. I thought this map was amazing, but I think this map had so much potential. These map makers have so much potential. They are brilliant writers. They are they're brilliant with everything. This map just really got into your head. But this map specifically had so much potential to continue. They had us at they got to us at a point where we were so confused that anything they made us do would have made somewhat sense just because we were expecting anything. And then it just ended.
Yeah, I
And I
can
was
see that.
like, what the hell? I mean, this could gone on for 4 more times as much as it is, and it would never have gotten old. And they just ended it. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't have the time. Maybe they thought it was too much work because making a Minecraft map is a lot of work. But still, it was. I just thought it just had so much potential that they just threw away.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I think we've gotten our 5 major points out there. Why don't we head to the review board?
Review board it is.
Alright, so I think for my first point, and once again folks, if you don't remember or if you haven't seen the first video, the way our point scale goes is I start at a 0, being the optimist, and I add points up. My good friend Sweaterman here, he's going to do the opposite. He's going to start at 10, and he's going to deduct points. And we're going to do them because we have 5 points each. Each bullet has the potential to be worth up to 2 points each, whether that be a 2-point addition or a 2-point deduction. And that will eventually build up to our individual scores, and then we average them out in, kind of an overall review. Alright. Now that we're done with the explanation for the second time, gotta keep people filled in.
I know. Why don't you start us off there?
Alright, I'm going to start off with the fact that the story was very fleshed out and the writing was excellent. The writing was phenomenal. It was captivating, and it very accurately portrayed one person's spiral into insanity. I'm going to give that one a +2.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I agree.
plenty of resources. I will admit that the resources were a little bit overkill, but it also was very refreshing considering our last experience with the map.
Yes.
We went from a map that had 0 resources to a map that had too many resources. So I was a little bit happy to see that the fact that we were actually playing a map with resources, but I do have to agree with you on the point that it was a little bit overboard, and once we did get those resources, it made the rest of the map a little bit too easy, so I'll give that one a +1.
Okay.
Alright, interactive story. All the scenes where, you had the choice to kill the Testificates and, free the Yogscast and things along those lines. I thought that was particularly ingenious because it really forced you to make a decision in the place of that character to help kind of really grab at that story even more. It really kind of put you in the middle of the story rather than someone just watching a story. So I'll give that one another +2. As far as guiding the player well, the objectives were clear. Where you had to go was very clear. Ideally, as a map maker, that's the kind of thing that you want to do because you're going to capture the biggest audience that way. Not every person is going to be looking for this highly cryptic map. So in the even though I've played games where I generally play games where the map can be a little bit more cryptic and it's more exploration based, I'm going to place this point in the position that most players playing this map would. So I'm going to give that a +2 because that's what most people are going to be wanting. They're going to want their objectives very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
And the last point that I have is the shout out to the Yogscast and other popular YouTubers. I can sort of see to the point where it was a little bit brown nosing. I can see that point, but I still think that was great because I haven't actually personally seen that before in a Minecraft map. The shout out to the popular ones that essentially have inspired a good deal of us to do this kind of thing, especially us where we're recording. We wouldn't have started doing this unless we had our inspiration from the same people. So I'm gonna give that one a +2 because I think that one, I think that was a really cool shout out. So
Okay.
that's gonna add me up to a 9 out of 10. That's pretty high.
That is pretty high.
So let's see how low we can go with yours.
Unfortunately, not really that low. I mean, for the first point, the fact that I thought there was too much text and not enough action, really, that's not something that's inherently wrong with the map. It would be if they had taken it to an extreme and literally there was no action and all text, but it wasn't. I just thought that there wasn't enough middle ground between the text. But I suppose that's just a personal preference. I mean, if you have someone comes along that is in love with all of the Final Fantasy games, perchance, then they would love this map. So I can't take away any points for that. That's just something that I found wrong. Other people might find it right. Other people might find it preferred.
Oh, that's an interesting turn of events. You taking away nothing.
I know it is. It's just.
But I give you credit. You're looking at it objectively.
Has to be done. It has to be done. The too many resources, though, that took away from the gameplay. That was pretty bad. It just, like I said before, it took away from the suspense. It took away from the panic. It took away from a lot of the action because we just pwned everybody. It was a massacre. But then, as you said, it was refreshing. I mean, at least they gave us a summary of resources as opposed to the last adventure map when they gave us none. So they did right by there again, but they just took it to another extreme. There are two extremes, people. Find the middle ground, please. Find the middle ground. So I'm going to give that a -1. The fact that the plot was not well explained, specifically near the end, again, I'm going to give it another -1 because on a whole, in detail, it was amazing. It explained everything and every little detail. The writing was fantastic. It really fleshed out the story, but in general, I didn't really know what the fuck was going on. So that's another -1. Um, the shout out to the Yogscast or the Yogscast brown nosing on my side. I'm gonna have to take away another -1 because it did kill the mood for me. I need to walk away from an adventure map thinking that that was amazing, that was fantastic, that I really loved it. The last feeling that I got after playing that adventure map was, wow, these guys are suck ups, and it was just instant low. It was horrible. I was ashamed for you, to be totally honest. So that gets another -1. It doesn't get a -2 just because I can see where the it is kind of showing a bit of respect for the people that started this whole genre, basically. You know, of doing adventure maps. You know, of posting on. They're the Minecraft gods. What can we say? Um, but it is a bit of brown nosing. It's just the way it is. And the fact that this map ended too soon, again, that's not really not a problem with the actual map. It's just, I guess I just liked it so much that when it ended, I was disappointed, and that might even be a +1, but I can't do that. I'm the critic. Um, so I can't take away any points for that either. It just another personal preference that I think it should have been a lot longer. And that brings me to a total of 7 out of 10.
Wow, that's shockingly high for you.
It is shockingly high for me, but these guys, they did an amazing job.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think our biggest major complaint is that was too short.
That is our major complaint at the moment, and I didn't even take off points for that.
Yeah. So that averages out us to an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 people.
That's pretty respectable.
It is,
All right.
and indeed, I we totally suggest this map. It was an amazing experience, and we had a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, without doubt. Yeah, and as far as it, and of course, just like the last map, we're gonna give you a couple of tips. Um, I suppose my biggest tip is if you have anyone in the group who is a decent reader, have them read. As you saw, I butchered what I read.
Oh, you weren't that bad.
I butchered it.
Okay, you can't butcher it. That's not the point.
Um,
Mhm.
Two, limit. As cool as it is to find those chests with all that awesome gear in it, limit yourself on it. Don't take everything, because you will completely spoil the rest of the map as far as any kind of challenge.
Mhm.
Um,
Just take a few. You know, like take crappy weapons and good armor, or take crappy armor and good weapons, or something. You know, just try and equal it out a little.
yeah. And three, watch out for the Ratman's area, because he's
Ton of
kind of weird.
creepers.
Yeah, he's a ton of creepers. I mean, like, around every freaking corner.
And he's kind of creepy. Just
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, just a bit. Just a bit.
Oh man.
Alright, so that was our overall review of the map Insanity.
8 out of 10 people.
Yeah, 8
Good
out of
job.
10. Great job.
Amazing.
Yep, good map. Just advice for the creator, if you're watching this, put that little bit of extra effort in at the end to increase the fun a little bit longer.
Or make a sequel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Make a sequel. We'll play it.
Yeah, we'll play
it,
it, we'll review it.
it hands down, we'll play that.
Oh yeah, we're in.
But again, amazing job to everybody that was involved. We'll leave the creators' names in the description along with a link to the map download because one, we don't remember the creator's name. You know, I'm terrible with the names. I think one guy was named like xbuttonsx or something. I think he's the guy that did all the writing. That's probably why I remember him. he did an amazing job. But
Absolutely.
amazing, 8 out of 10. We'll see you next time.
Yep. See ya.
Adios.